Along with former Cal coach Ben Braun, Roxy Bernstein with you. And Ben, Cal's coming off a win against East Carolina, 70-62 this past Friday night. Wasn't necessarily a great performance, but they got a win. They need to start playing well here toward the end of November.
Well, Roxy, they cannot go to sleep on Sam Houston State. This is a program that's won 50 games over the last 2 years, so they very well may be tested again this evening.
Well, they're doing a few things, actually. They're playing 2-3 zone, which has helped them keep some guys out of foul trouble. Let Jordan McLaughlin get a rest. You got to keep him fresh. And I think they're playing well in transition. They're doing a good job, but Jordan McLaughlin's been the key to their team.
They're trying to deny Arabu. The problem is they've got Josh Hawkinson on the other end, and he sees the floor. He's tall, he's lanky, and he can find guys. He's got great pinpoint passing. 9 assists in his last game. Just incredible what he does to find his teammates. Kent's Cougars are playing better. They haven't had a lot to show for it in terms of wins, but boy, they're doing a much better job in keeping games close. They just really struggled down the end a little bit down the stretch.
And for USC, they're winners of 3 in a row now, and they're getting healthy. Benny Buckets is back.
Well, you're right. Benny Buckets is a guy that's given their team a big lift in a big way. How about being out 15 games, Greg, and coming back to do what he's done? 23 points, going inside, knocking down shots, going over the top of people, rebounding.
Well, I think it is. Another reason, too, Mike, and actually is because of the shot clock. You know, a lot of teams like the full court press. Oregon was very successful at that. They full court press. They come back and they play into a zone. So now you've eaten up about 10, 15 seconds of the shot clock. Your team is only on defense for about 10, 12 seconds. If you can't get your guys to sit in the stands for 12 seconds, you're in trouble.
Well, that's a much-needed basket just for a confidence standpoint. You know, you want to give your team something to get excited about, but it hasn't been a lot right now. And I know Tony Benford wants his team just, again, to zero in defensively. You've got to start with some stops.
And really, Sam Singer's very capable, and Jabari Bird. If they can get somebody else to handle most of the ball handling, get some of that pressure off of Tyrone Wallace, then he can do what he's done really his whole career. He's so powerful, so explosive to the basket. But when you're ball handling, you're leading, and you're trying to run the show for your team, it becomes very difficult.
Delta Faucet touch of the game, and Coach Ben Braun, I bet it involves dunks.
Absolutely, and why not? We've been keeping our producer Dave Feldman busy with all these replays all day long, and what a great highlight film. Just a great look at Chimezie Metu, but not to be outdone. How about Washington State coming back and showing their ability to play high above the rim, not only with their post guys, but with their guard.
Well, Coach, we've got a 2-10 matchup, but the two definitely will not take the 10 lightly for obvious reasons.
Well, they can't afford to, really, Mike, because UTEP has two things working right now. They've got to make sure that they don't have a letdown against a team that's coming off a very emotionally charged victory. And two, they did that in their last game, and UTEP escaped with a very narrow 3-point win. On the other side of the ledger, you've got Anthony Evans, who said, hey, we can't afford to not have our energy today. We're going to play against a team that's very well rested and had a first-round bye.
Like I said, Z-O-N-E. You will probably see both teams go into a little bit more zone. Although, you know, guy, when you're down, it's hard to sit back in the zone because, you know, you feel like the time goes off the clock. You want to get back in the game. But when it's a close game in the shot clock, zone is a good move. And here they go again, back to the zone. And Washington struggled a little bit with the zone the first half. They were not in the same rhythm.
What happened to them in the second half here?
Well, they were out of sorts. Other than Chasen Randall, guys, they really struggled this game. Number one, Nasic gets in foul trouble, and that really hurts. So you'll see he's out there challenging, and you got to stay on the ground. He commits a 3-point foul right there, and that's just tough. And then Reed Travis gets back in, and that's a tough chemistry problem because he hasn't played for 9 games.
Let's watch this again, Greg. Here's that loaded up side. They're not going to leave the shooter. You can't leave Stewart in the right corner, so you've got to load up and you've got to push the ball handler to his left. You've got to push where all the other defenders and offensive players are. That's something that's in the scouting report, and I know Coach Kent has gone over that, but it's tough when you're out in the floor. You sometimes don't see what's behind you. Your teammates have to talk to you to tell you, hey, force them left.
The sophomore from Atlanta back in the game, and plus they're playing zone, so there's no question he can get in there, maybe log a few minutes, but they're not going to let this game get away and have him sit on the bench, I don't believe.
Well, you can't spend a lot of time doing that. You hope that teams give you a lift, but in the end it comes down to what you do and your team's performance. So if you just take care of business, really you have no control over what other teams do, but it's nice to get a little bit of a lift if UCLA can put on a surge. The only problem with UCLA is that Steve Alford and company have a very tough schedule. They may have the toughest remaining schedule as they've got 5 of their last 7 games at home, and they've got some tough games. So, can they make it? They're certainly tournament team of the past. They regroup without some key players from a year ago, but I really believe that they've got to get some key road wins to get into the tournament.
Yeah, they're